The Pilot Method. The 5 Elemental Truths to Leading Yourself in Life. Written and read by Elizabeth McCormick. That's me. Produced by Pro Audio Voices. A note from the author. When I was serving in the U.S. Army, my mom would show pictures of me with a helicopter to everyone she knew. It was embarrassing to me because it wasn't a big deal. Everyone I worked with was a pilot too. It wasn't until I got out of the military and was into a civilian job and involved in my community in Texas that I realized being a pilot was special. And now, as a full-time professional motivational and leadership speaker, I bring those stories to audiences and relate them to life and business. What I learned is that pilots are different. We think differently due to our training and living on the brink of life and death at the whim of a machine. My goal with this book is to share that thinking with you, to shift your perspective so that you can lead yourself in life. Because we have to lead ourselves before we can lead others. Some of the names have been changed, and the experiences I went through are how I remember them. And it's been a few years. If there are mistakes in this book, please know that they are not intentional, and my stories are based purely on my memory and the resources that are still available to me. It's an honor to share these elemental basic truths with you, and it is my hope that you will benefit from this book and soar to success. Wishing you great success. Soar. Elizabeth McCormick. Chapter 1. Potential. I had no idea how dramatically my life was about to change. I was an unemployed military wife, stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Make that, we were stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. I had learned quickly that as a military wife, everything was a collective we. We were in the field. We were deploying. We were reassigned. Being a military wife is more than a marital status. It's a way of life. The ink was barely dry on my college diploma when I packed up everything I owned for my soon-to-be, and should have already been, condemned apartment, shoved all I could into my bright blue Pontiac Sunbird, and headed south from Michigan to Louisiana to be with my military husband. Newly wed in December, and now newly graduated, I was excited for what the future would hold. I wasn't a stranger to the South. For more than 10 years, I had spent summers with my father in Texas. It was part of the life of the child of divorced parents with jobs in different states. I spent school years in Michigan living with my mom, and summers in Texas visiting my dad. So the heat wasn't a surprise. The lack of available jobs, however, came as a stark shock. I had worked since the age of 13. My first job was working for my dad's construction company. I was his daughter, but that didn't mean I received special treatment. From day one, I was bleaching mold off walls, or painting racks in warehouses, or working the equipment on assembly lines, anything my young hands could handle. Growing up in a construction family wasn't, you can't do that. It was, can you do that? It wasn't a gender issue. It was all about skill and strength. In retrospect, I see that my father was a man of quiet competence. He didn't discourage the development of potential in either me or my siblings. Potential, noun. A latent excellence or ability that may or may not be developed. Now I have to admit, I had to look up latent. It means present, but not visible. But I want to paraphrase that original definition. Potential, noun. A present but not visible excellence or ability that may or may not be developed. Notice the definition of potential does not specify who has it. Potential is always present. We all have it within us. My father encouraged development of the potential in me through his words and by his actions.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?